Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today I'm exploring fear, or rather ignoring fear, which may sound like a really strange thing to consider. I'm not inviting people to ignore sensible fear. And I think that's maybe where fear kind of gets muddled up for us inside our heads, because there are some really useful things that we've learned about what to be afraid of. Or what I mean, maybe that's the issue. Maybe it's not what to be afraid of, it's just what to be sensible around. So when we were very young, people told us that hot things burn, and maybe if we didn't listen, we touched a pan or a hob or a flame, and we discovered the hard way that hot things can hurt you. And then maybe we had a parent who was, looking after us and letting us know that if a car hits you, it's going to hurt and it's not good for you and you want to watch out for that. In fact, I was hit by a car when I was in my teens. Bless this old guy just didn't stop. The light was red for him and green for us, and he just didn't stop. So there are things that we've learned that are useful in terms of fear, in terms of what to watch out for. And I quite like saying that. I quite like what to watch out for. But unfortunately, we've learned some things to watch out for that have really got nothing to do with us at all. So one example that I use a lot is, if somebody, when they were quite small, was invited by the teacher to stand up and read out their poem, let's say a 6-year-old, and unfortunately the poem did not go down very well and they were laughed at, or maybe the poem was actually naturally funny, so the class laughed, but the child took it badly and saw that that was somehow humiliating or terrible, and they didn't like it, and they didn't like the feeling. Now, it looks then, doesn't it, to the self, to the thinking system inside us, that there is danger in speaking, in standing up in front of a group and speaking. So that person may well spend the rest of their life really trying to avoid that kind of activity. Because what the system that's then at play inside us is that there is a thought that speaking in front of people is not safe, an old dirty thought that is just hanging around inside us, and that brings with it the same feeling that we would experience should we be pursued by a saber-toothed tiger, because that's what fear's job is to keep us safe. So when our bodies start to pump adrenaline and we start to feel tension and heart pounding and stomach churning and sweaty palms and all those things, it looks like the thing to do to get rid of that feeling is to avoid, because that would be the thing to do if you were being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. Please do move out of the way if there is a saber-toothed tiger coming at you. And there are not many around in Leeds, but I don't know where you live, maybe there are. But that's not it. But can you see the confusion? There's a confusion there, isn't there? Between that system that is created to fill your muscles with the energy to get away from a proper predator that's going to kill you or eat you or whatever. Well, I imagine if you're eaten, you're dead, aren't you? Those kind of things come together. And the same feeling coming up because we have a thought that is fearful. And there's a confusion there. And that's why when you're actually really in a fearful situation, you don't really experience the build up because you're moving. So I remember once being caught in a field of cows that were not happy that I was there. And the field of cows included a bull that the farmer had unfortunately put across a public footpath. So there was calves and cows and a massive bull, and they were coming at me, and I had to climb over the wall to get away from them. And all the time I was just getting over the wall. I didn't feel anything. Now, afterwards, when I started to think about what could have happened and I wound myself back up again a bit, I started to feel those kind of jittery feelings because I was already safe, really. I was in a field of sheep, and they're pretty harmless, aren't they, sheep? So it's interesting, the mechanism that's going on, or the physiological system that's going on inside you when fear is involved. So what often happens is, the speaking is a great example, but as business owners, we have ideas, don't we? We have wonderful ideas all the time. I have so many now, I don't know what to do with them. I have to sit with some. I'm going to try and find some time to do that today. But we have lots of amazing ideas. And they come, when they come, those ideas, they're just filled with sparkle, aren't they? And joy and magic. They feel magical. We feel drawn towards them, and they're new and fresh. And so we know that they're not from this noisy bear there up here. They're this creative energy that needs to come through as this magical power. And then, after we've got all excited about it, then the little voice comes in. Oh, you're going to look stupid if you do that. That's not going to work. The voice of fear. And this morning, I'm sharing this because I was listening to Stephanie Benedetto's podcast, and she reminded me of a quote from Elizabeth Gilbert. I'm not going to remember it all, but it's a quote from Eat, Pray, Love. And it's basically Elizabeth Gilbert saying that, creativity and her are going on a journey, and fear can come, but fear has to sit in the back seat. And fear is not allowed to have the map, not even allowed to control the radio. So what you have is this kind of image of fear churning away in the back of the car, while Elizabeth Gilbert is driving, and, creativity is holding the map, and they're having a lovely they're planning their journey and the excitement and everything. Now, fear can come along because, let's face it, folks, if you think you can completely get rid of all your fearful thoughts, I think you're on a hiding to nothing. You could be doing that for the rest of your life rather than getting on with doing the creative thing. You could be spending the rest of your life trying to eliminate that voice with affirmations and meditations and have therapy and going into the past and try and get to the root cause. You could go on. What was that? There. I don't know who I sounded like then. I know that guy in the cartoon, the vampire and the little vampire. Anyway, it's there, isn't it? It can be there churning away. But what if it didn't matter if that voice? What if fear can be in the back of your head or in the back of the car, churning away to itself with its knitting? I don't know why mine's got knitting. About, you need to stay still and not do that. It's going to look stupid. What if it doesn't really matter that voice is still there? Because fundamentally, that voice knows nothing about what you're capable of, even if at the time it seemed there was something true in what somebody said or what you experienced. It isn't true now because you're a grown adult, not a 5-year-old child, first of all. And second of all, it's somebody else's thinking or something that you misunderstood about why people were laughing at your poems, laughing because it was funny maybe. It's all built out of misunderstandings and other people's thinking. But how cool to see that creativity and us are connected, like heart to heart, like that's where this comes from. And that we can go on a journey with fear churning away, and maybe even sometimes fear making us feel those wound up, angsty feelings. and anxious and worried, but it doesn't have to stop us. It doesn't have to stop us, because it doesn't know what you're capable of. And I know you've seen this. I know you've had those moments where you have gone, sod this. I'm not listening to this. I'm going in this direction. And you have carried with you the icky feelings and the chunnering away thoughts, and you have gone forward anyway. And the more times you do that, it's like you provide reassurance for fear. I don't know, it's like you're throwing some sweeties to it in the back of the car. There you go. You're all right. We're all right. Look, we went over the bridge. Nobody died. We went this way and everything's still fine. And eventually fear shuts up, because those fearful thoughts can see that you're okay. It's not required anymore. But you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours trying to get rid of those thoughts. You can travel with them. You can still do life with them in tow. And that is magical. Absolutely magical. When you see that, I mean, I'm just feeling it now. There's a weight that falls away. There's a relief. And it's amazing. So maybe just today, leave fear in the back of the car with its knitting and sweets, apparently. Just making me laugh a lot. And see what occurs to do. What are you inspired, and what needs to come through you? Because if the things that are supposed to come through you don't come through you, first of all, they'll go through somebody else because they're meant to be in the world. And second of all, you won't be there helping the people who need you with that thing that is your amazing idea. So, lots of love. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.